moving into, in future courses here is many of you are taking this class for a reason. Nobody just takes this because they need a gen psych knocked off, right? Maybe, hopefully not misspeaking here, but many of you are taking this for some specific purpose. Either it has something to do with your major, your career path, or you're just curious as to what developmental psychology is about, or dealing with infant and children. Okay. So to that end, many of you are going to be probably working in the field with children in some capacity. And as such, I think it's important to get more of a practical application with what we're reading in the book and what you're going to be doing out in the field. So one of my favorite ways to do that is to use case studies. And I'll either use something specific that I've dealt with in my career, or something that I find out there that is really powerful in helping to incorporate what we're doing, not only in our book, in our lectures, but also what you're going to be doing out in the field. So to that end, I know that we've really been talking a lot about education, educating the caregivers, and specifically the mother, to ensure that nutrition is being followed, that they're aware of like toxins and things that could negatively, either environmental or through drugs, that could negatively impact the growth and development of children. So we're going to kind of stick along those lines of growth and nutrition, as many of you have read through chapter 4, about growth and health, and as well as education, and what kind of interactions are we seeing between parents and children, or caregivers and children, and how does that play out in their social development and their physical growth and their health. Okay, so to that end, I do have a case study, and hopefully this works as I had envisioned it, but I'm going to break you off into groups and give you the case study through chat. Let me see if I can do that now. Okay, and I'm going to give you 2 copies. I'm going to give you one PDF, because not everybody has Word, and then I'm going to also put Word in there as well. So if you can, go ahead now and download those case studies. And I think you have do you have access to chat while you're in your groups?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So you might be able to access it, but just to be safe, go ahead and do that. So I'm going to break you off into groups, and I want you just to kind of read over this case study. This case study is actually something very close to what I deal with regularly, as far as the parent and child teenager interaction. So go ahead and review the case study, and we're going to meet back here. I'll give you about maybe 10 minutes or so, 10, 15 minutes, and I'll check in with the groups to see how far along. If we need a little bit more time, we can certainly do that. But did anybody have an issue getting, you're not seeing any of the links? I can't download them. That's not good. Has anybody been successful in downloading them or opening them up?
I was
able to.
Okay, who's not able to get that?
We have a couple people in chat who can't get them also.
Okay.
There's about 5 people so far. 6.
I don't
7.
see anything in chat. Okay, so that didn't work well at all, did it? All right. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do then. I'm going to post this on D2L as well. So let me. Where are they? Okay, that's not good. Hey, James, are you seeing them in chat?
Yeah, I see them all in chat. There's about like 8 people, I would say. 9. I can't even see the links either, too, so it's not just me.
You can't see the link?
No, I can't see them also.
I wonder why that is.
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
Okay, so some of you are getting them, some of you are not. All right, so I'm going to put these in D2L. So if you want to go into D2L right now, I'm going to put them in week 3 resources. My apologies. Okay, this is the first time I tried to do this, as you can tell. We'll get there, folks. All right. Oh, great. Safari can't open page. Fantastic. All right. They should be available in under content, week 3 resources. And again, you pick whichever you prefer. If you can't get Word, Word would be easier for you to type in. But if you can't get Word, go ahead and get the PDF. So you should all have access to that now. I'm going to break you off into your groups. Any questions before we proceed?
Are we
What
putting
is
these
it
in a
titled?
Dropbox at all?
What's that?
Are we putting these in a Dropbox at all?
Nope.
Like, are we submitting these?
Nope,
Okay.
you don't have to submit them. What we'll do is we'll meet back here and we'll discuss the 4 items on there. So just read through. It's a pretty short read, and then just answer those questions as a group. And then we'll meet back here in about 10, 15 minutes. Okay?
What is it titled as on the resources?
It's I'm sorry. It's case study.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. I'm breaking you off into rooms now. Let's see.
You're muted.
Oh, thank you. All right. Sorry, I think we got everybody back. So what did y'all come up with here? What were some of the areas? Like, so obviously Darlene is dealing with some obesity issues, right? What factors did you discuss that might contribute to her obesity?
I think that her mom made her fat.
Okay.
Because,
all right.
Because in the thing, her mom was like, they're probably jealous of you, blah, blah, blah. Here's some frozen candy bars to make you feel better.
Okay.
So
okay.
I just assumed that her mom, like, whenever she's sad, like, they use, like, comfort food or food.
All right. So using food as a reward, right? Okay. What about validation? I mean, what were some, so not only food, but what kind of food?
Junk food.
Yeah, junk food, like high fatty, high sugar, right? High fat.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So for yeah, they gave her the food, but would it be as a reward in this situation, or would it be as like a coping mechanism?
Okay. What do you think?
I thought it would be like a coping mechanism because she's like, oh, don't be upset. Like they're just jealous. Here, have some chocolate. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, so this is probably morphed into what I can, from what I read in this case and what I've seen working in the field is that usually starts out with food as a reward. So if you complete your assignments, then you get a chocolate bar. If you get, and I see this a lot, if you get an A, we're going to take you out for pizza and ice cream or something like that. So that's probably where that stemmed from, and it developed into food as a coping mechanism. Now, what do you think? Is that something that she is going to carry on if there's no intervention? Do you think that's something she's going to carry on into later teens and adulthood?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So obesity is probably going to be a problem, not only because of diet, but what are some other factors that are probably contributing to obesity here too? Because we looked at behaviors.
Exercises.
Okay, so possibly. I don't know if we got a whole lot. I
was also thinking of stress and depression.
Self-esteem issues, maybe.
Okay. So we look at the environmental issues here. The environment is what? Is we reward and we cope with stress with fatty foods, with comfort foods. And that plays a big role in the development and the growth of children, not only because of their weight, but what else? What else do you, I mean, did you read that was going on here with her? And we kind of delve into this a little bit with two.
Like, I guess more so in regards to the last question, but when they call her Dolly Parton, my group kind of came to a conclusion that since Dolly Parton, like the country music industry is known to have like very big boobs, that like because she is hitting puberty before her classmates, that they're making fun of her for that like factor itself.
Yeah. You got a good point. We're going to get to that here in just a minute as well. So how about heredity? What do you think that has to do? What can you guess mom's, if she's engaging in comfort foods, high fat, high sugar comfort foods, what can you guess mom's,
Yeah, my group discussed that most likely the environment she lives in and her parents are probably the same body type as she is. If she's eating 3,500 calories a day, most likely mom and dad aren't limiting what she's eating either. So they're probably doing the same thing.
Right. We have a lot of things going on here also. And some people are predisposed to obesity, and it's very, very hard for them to manage their weight while eating what somebody else, what their peers are eating. Right. So on top of it being hereditary, we're also faced with eating as a go-to for comfort. And this is going to come up throughout this course, but what do you think media's responsibility is here? What media influence do you think has on this family and on what Darlene is going through?
Body image expectations.
Body image, absolutely, right. And I think we're getting a little bit better in the media. We're not where we need to be, but what does media promote as far as attractiveness?
Being skinny.
Right. Skinny, symmetrical, right? Blemish free. What's that?
I was going to say proportionate pretty much. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And we're getting better with that. I think, as of like 80s and 90s, and even into the 2000s, I mean, skinny rail, not proportionate, improportionate, women and men seem to be the go-to, seem to be what was perpetuated as beauty in the media. We're getting better with that, but again, still not where we need to be. Okay. How about the next one? Darlene's parents believe that her extra weight is just baby fat and that she shouldn't be concerned with that. What were some of the things you came up with for that item? What are the consequences of obesity?
Well, they said that it's baby fat, but she's in 5th grade. Normally, baby fat kind of disappears after like 2nd or 3rd grade, I guess.
Right.
But I guess by like putting that into her mindset makes it think that it's okay.
Okay. Yeah. And how do you balance that? Because you don't want to shame Darlene, right? So what do you think? I mean, first of all, the question is asking, what is the consequence of obesity on Darlene that she's experiencing? And she, her mom is doing what? She's kind of dismissing, right? She's dismissing health issues, serious health issues. Because Darlene's feeling what? Unpopular, right? What else?
Depressed, probably.
Depressed, okay.
Anxiety.
Anxiety usually goes hand in hand with depression.
Stressed about going to school.
Okay, yeah, we'll put that with, and stress, okay. So mental health stuff, basically.
Different.
What?
I was going to say she might feel like different because of like hitting puberty earlier.
Right, okay. Yeah, absolutely. So that's a whole other issue, isn't it? So her body is going through these rapid changes. So, and we know when we hit puberty, we start building, we start getting a little bit taller. We start developing, in her case, she was developing breasts and hitting puberty and probably hips. So fat and muscles start packing on. So diet is very important during those periods to make sure that she's getting the right intake of good proteins and moderate carbohydrates, less sugar, because we need sugar as children because our bones and metabolisms are building. But not so much when we get a little bit more developed and a little older. So what about medical problems? What are the medical consequences of obesity that we know of?
Cardiovascular issues.
Yeah, all sorts of things. Heart disease, diabetes, especially with high sugar intake. So there are medical concerns that she's going to be facing, right? Absolutely. All right, so the next item, number 3. On an average day, Darlene consumes over 3,500 calories. Just to kind of break this up here, what is an average amount of calories that we would want to look for in teenagers, do you think?
2,000, I think, is the average calorie intake. I don't know if it's different for teenagers.
I think it's 3,000.
Okay, somewhere in that area of 2 to 3,000. Oh, let me. Yeah, 2 to 3,000 calories a day, right? Now that's a little higher for teenagers because they're still developing. They still have the energy and the metabolism to do that if they're the right kind of calories. Now calories, as we know, anybody that's in nutrition, you have good calories, you have bad calories, you have empty calories, you have productive calories. So it's important to understand that, while she may be getting 3,500 calories, they may not be the right kind of calories, right? So anyway, she has occasionally tried radical diets. What would you recommend to her and her family regarding an effective approach to weight loss?
Exercise.
Okay.
It needs to be like a family event.
Okay. Family should support, right? Instead of what? Because they're doing what? They're dismissing her. They're dismissing her as it's probably baby fat. Don't be worried about it. They might be in denial themselves, and therefore, go ahead. Oh, I thought I heard somebody.
Her family might be able to like exercise with her, so she doesn't feel like she's all alone.
Okay, all right.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Maybe she should get a dog or like maybe some animal that she could walk, and that could boost her, not only her her happiness, but also her exercise and stuff.
Maybe. And I've seen mixed results on that. I've heard of families that do that. And the problem with dogs, it really depends on the type of dog, I'll tell you. Because if you get a dog that tends to match what the parent or what the owners are, then they might be sedentary as well. I've seen that happen. Now you have a dog with health issues. But if you get a higher energy dog that likes to run and likes to bounce around, that might be a little bit more productive. So I would agree with that with caveats that it really depends on the dog, and be cautious because the dog might be sedentary too, might turn out to be sedentary. So
possibly encouraging like how they reward her with sugary stuff that's not good for her would possibly like rewarding her with healthier stuff. Would that still be detrimental?
Well, what do you mean healthier stuff?
Like, what if they gave her fruits and like vegetables instead, like as a reward, like something that's probably healthier for her body? Would that still necessarily detrimental?
Yeah. So, and again, these are mixed results here because first of all, she's 5th grade. Do we really need to reward with food? That might be given a message because what is she going to do when she gets a little bit older and she has a little bit more control over what she has access to for food and she can eat? She's probably going to go to what?
Binging?
Probably eating unhealthy snacks, right? That's going to be her go-to because there are two things at work here with rewarding with food. First of all, you're promoting eating as a comfort. And that satisfies us. It does provide a release of dopamine in our brain, which is a reward for us. But the other part is the high sugar and high fat. It's almost an addiction. It's a chemical dependency. If we have a high sugar or high fat diet that we're ingesting, putting into our bodies, our body craves that, doesn't it? Has anybody tried to quit drinking soda before?
I have.
What does that do to you?
For me, it was really simple because when I was living on campus, I just didn't buy soda for like my apartment.
Okay.
So my body just stopped craving it.
Okay. Did you go through any kind of craving for it, like you saw soda, and or did you experience any headaches or anything?
Not really, because the caffeine in soda, caffeine doesn't really, it doesn't get me more like hyper. It calms me down, so it really didn't have that big of effect on me.
Okay. Was it diet soda?
It was any kind of soda.
Okay, because and the reason I'm asking is because of the high fructose corn syrup that's in most sodas. It can produce like intense cravings for other sodas, and people don't necessarily go through withdrawals, but they just experience like a high sensation of craving that they just want a soda.
I know
So
some people in my family who have quit soda, and they said like when they tried it again after quitting for a while, it didn't taste the same as it did before.
oh,
It actually tasted like gross to them after they quit for a while and then had it
okay.
again.
Good for them. Yeah, yeah. But it's a hard transition. It's hard to do that, and she might experience that later in life. So yeah, I mean, it might be worth trying to reward her with different things. How about like more material things? If they're looking to produce some kind of reward or comfort, what about like more material, like some kind of technology? Like if she's able to get A's on her report card, they get her a phone or an iPad or a computer or something.
I think that would be smarter. Or even like maybe if they have a tablet, maybe she gets an extra hour on a tablet if like the parents strict with like technology.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Just thinking of other ways to give her liberties instead of food would probably be ideal. So reward with other than food.
Another approach they can do for like weight loss is, I know that any people who try to do like radical diets, it often is like a very short-term thing, and like you always want what you can't have. So instead, like having them think of it as trying to do a healthier lifestyle, because that's like a long-term thing that they can keep going.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So something a little bit more sustainable as opposed to just a treat here and there, right? Okay. So I think you all have a great idea. Good exercise and nutrition. I'm going to put nutrition on here. What about nutrition? I mean, obviously the parents' nutrition. How do I spell nutrition? There we go.
Like a dietitian not be good because of how young she is, or would that still be like acceptable because she's like obese?
What do y'all think? The dietitian.
I think it would be acceptable. Sorry.
I think it's okay.
I think it'd be good because a nutritionist might have to do it for all ages anyway. So
yeah,
perfect for them.
Yeah, yeah. And keep in mind here, the parents are probably ill-equipped to really solve this for her. So education of the parents, not only of Darlene, but the parents as well, is going to be a positive step in getting them the tools that they need to make better decisions, not only for her diet, but for the families as well. So getting that support around Darlene is going to be super helpful because she is, and I think we've used the word, depressed and anxious and stressed with school. That could have a negative impact. What long-term effect could having low self-esteem and not wanting to be having like a negative view of school, what long-term impact could that have on her life?
I mean, for one thing, that could always have like, she could be insecure about her body for the rest of her life because she might, like, just from earlier problems like now, if we don't fix it right now, she might have that.
Right. And it could show up later in life as some other major manifest as a mental health issue, either body image, could be anorexia or bulimia. It could be further depression or anxiety, but body or just overall insecurity about herself, right? Okay, what else? What are some other long-term impacts if she's not enjoying school?
She could either drop out.
Mm-hmm. So it could affect her career, her career as a student and possibly as a professional later in life, right? What about what about relationships? How do you think this would impact her relationship long term?
Relationships mean our friends.
Yeah, friends, trust in like a good relationship she might get in with another person.
She might be insecure when she's older.
Right. Okay. Back to body insecurity. Okay. If we bring in insecurities into relationship, what kind of relationship does that produce?
A toxic one?
Could be, right? We could be, that the person could be dependent on somebody, like overly dependent on somebody, which could put her in a bad situation as far as leaving her vulnerable to abuse or neglect in some way. So a lot of these things play into her long-term development. So you kind of see how that goes. What about, and I know this isn't on there, but what about addressing these body insecurities? Well, she's going through puberty right now, and she's growing faster than by leaps and bounds, more than her peers. What are some other things we can do about that, other than, we're working on the health issue, we're working on the diet and the exercise. What other helpful measure do you think we can do for her?
If she doesn't understand why she's developing faster, maybe try and explain it to her and let her know that it's normal.
Okay. Chances are she's probably, if she's coming to you or the family is coming to you, you're probably in a position where you can provide other resources like mental health, right? Yeah, you've already consulted a dietitian. Better to consult an expert is what Maria put on there. Very good. Absolutely. Consult an expert to help her through these changing times, to make sure that they have some oversight of her, because the last thing we want her doing is further isolating and lowering her self-esteem is lowering even more. So, we're working on the health and feeling good, but on the other side, maybe having an expert that helps to address the low self-esteem. Okay. Good suggestions. Very good suggestions. All right. How'd y'all like that? Do you like doing case studies? Okay. All right. So I plan on using, like I said, a good deal of these. When we get into developmental, like cognitive developmental, I do want to do a quick lecture on Piaget, just kind of letting you know, walking you through some of those concepts that Jean Piaget developed. I think that's coming up. It might be, maybe not next week, but the week after. But all right. Any other questions for me before we depart today?
Could you touch on the journals that we have to do for week 4 or that assignment?
Let me get into.
Yeah, I was confused about that too.
Okay. I'm in the process of, I know a couple of you have seen some of the assignments. Is it still there? I thought I had removed that.
Yeah, it's today. I still seen it.
Okay. Oh, wait. Maybe I have the wrong thing. Hold on, let me get back into. I have so many screens. I don't even know where my screen is right now. Bear with me. I'm not kidding. I have about 20 screens up at any given time. Oh, there we go. Okay. So let me, and this is, okay, where are you seeing that journal?
It's in the news on the course homepage on D2L.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not the journal that I'm seeing. I was just referring to the post that you made.
You're referring to what?
The post that you made that you would like us to have a journal, like a dream journal.
Nope. Okay. Yep. That was an old assignment. I'm sorry that appeared. Yeah. I'll let you know right now. I mean, I really put a lot of work into these courses here,